Hello everybody, this is Starman, and welcome back to Let's Play Betrayal Krondor. Well, we're still in Chapter 3. We are currently just outside the Temple of Dala, and this time we're going to go ahead and explore the whole area around High Castle and a bit of the North Dimwood, so I can show off one thing. And with any luck, we might be able to get all the way up to North Warden, and then can head back to Kenting Rush. And at that point, we will have explored everything as is possible to explore outside of the area where you do most of what you're supposed to explore when you're in Chapter 3, the whole Kentington Rush Caval Keep area. And there's no new quests in this area that I can recall. Nothing in High Castle demanding attention if you've already finished the grain quest, so really we're just looking for random ambushes and loot we don't need. This is one of the crazier things about this game, is that you can do all these things in Chapter 1, and it eliminates a lot of your opportunities for exploration later. In fact, if I were taking advantage of the teleport system, I could just be jumping around here and there willy-nilly. But instead, I'm traveling around, going from bar to bar, getting 100 gold a shot on my barding. Now, here's the road to High Castle. And something I found out since I recorded the first chapter where we went to High Castle, which is rather fascinating. We have this whole bit here where you take a 6-day journey and you start losing rations traveling to Cutter's Gap. And the whole thing is, you know, what's the point? Is it a trap to make you burn rations? Well, no, there is an actual practical purpose to it. And I will see if I can go into the tavern, and we'll play here first. And okay, I cannot charm the barmaid. Sadness. We're going to go ahead and stock up on rations for this trick, because this is one of those hacks that require a bit of patience. But note our health and stamina: 79, 67, 87. Because the thing is, you can do this journey a couple of times. And the health is now 79, 80, 67, 68, 87 of 88. So you can very slowly, as long as your rations hold out, keep going back and increasing your health every time you take this journey. And yeah, James is now starving to death, because he had the least rations of anybody, so... Go ahead and find the innkeeper here. And wow, yeah, James faded fast. So yeah, fair being fair, I'll have to use this to get him back up to fighting shape. But yeah, now you see why it's important to keep track of your rations in this game. I might as well finish off the last 3. Okay, so let's see, 12 and 14, 1. so let's see, Grove is 14, 14, 5, 14, 14, and 4. Okay, so 5, 6, and I'll buy Goraf a pack of 7 to keep it even-ish. Okay, so equal rations for everybody. And yeah, nobody in the garrison. And check the shop. At the very least, we can sell off that. And clear out some of these arrows that we don't need. Yeah, not as much as in Romney now, were they? And we'll give whoever Goraf fights next a bit of a nasty surprise. And let's see, do we have any better gear we can pick up here? Elven crossbows, much more expensive here, but very nice as far as these things go. Yeah, might as well stock up on restoratives since James lost his set. And better give Goraf a set just in case he needs it. Yeah, the armory has no use for an armor hammer. Whatever. But yeah, how much do we get out of that? So yeah, health 81, health 69, health 89. You can boost your health quite a bit for however long you want to sit here and spend money on rations, which, given the money we've got now, I could spend quite a bit of time doing that. And I might come back and do that later, but I'm not going to make you sit and watch me power level anymore. So we'll go ahead and head south down the path to Dimwood. Birdshot into the sky, and it's weird that James has the best scouting ability now. You can credit that to the Ring of the Golden Way that we found. And yeah, scavenger's shop. Much better price on the rations here. And a definitely better price on the Silverthorn anti-venom. Hey, we might need it. Yeah, the restoratives price is way better. He didn't see it coming. Thankfully, it's trolls, so we should be able to handle this pretty easily, because I do still have... Ooh, tent. And we don't get anything other than nobody has lived in there for some time. So, yep, with that we passed back into the Dimwood, and it looks like a witch. A witch! Whom we've managed to ambush. And we better move James to stop one of them from being able to spellcast. And have Owen move to neutralize the others. And yeah, it looks like the witch just grief-avised Owen, but we got everybody else taken care of. Yeah, thankfully the witches are rather weak, but if they can get one of their paralyzing spells off, it can make short order of you, depending on who's traveling with them, and we will have some rather nasty things traveling with them in the future. Let's see, that dragon stone would be worth quite a bit. Root oil and gold. And yeah, you can play Pixel Hunt on some of these. Okay, yeah, Witch Hag's corpse. Okay, nothing on her. So, why did I come back to the north end of the Dimwood when I said earlier that the only thing of interest here was a quest that's in the south part? Well, there is one other thing of interest here, which we will find at the end of the road. Because you remember when we explored the Dimwood back in Chapter 1 that there was a shop, and we nearly walked into an ambush. And how the shop was not open. Well, now, in Chapter 3, the shop will be open. Yep, the Fife and Laurel. The little shop was covered with dust. Like delicate wall hangings, silky cobwebs decorate every corner of the quaint old shop. The Dimwood was hardly a well-traveled area, and it was obvious the establishment received few visitors. But this shop does have bowstrings, rope picklocks, an armorer's hammer, a shovel, silverthorn, a whetstone, Sarig's Bane of all things. In fact, just about everything that you need, except for, oddly enough, rations. And this will become a rather big deal in Chapter 7. But it is nice to know that this shop is here. Now let's see if we can just sneak north before the ambush. Because I could make short work of these guys, but I don't see much need to. And we'll head back up into the teeth of the world. Back up to High Castle. And there's the farm where we got the grain last chapter. I had another reason for coming back this way, because as I recall, there was a chest that we couldn't open before. And James is finally able to pick it, and well, it wouldn't be bad treasure under normal circumstances, but we're way beyond needing 100% armor and a healing pouch. And just like that, we're back in the camp on the Teef. And the Temple of Tiff is right there. And I don't think we'll run into Tamni the Minstrel this time around. We can see if the Baron in High Castle has anything to say to us. Whoop. Walked right into the goblins that time almost. And we'll go ahead and wait until the next day, and then we should be able to charge forward. And they're not alone, they're prepared for the attack, but 3 goblins, we can easily take care of this. Oh, what the heck. Let's take care of that fellow who hasn't moved. Ooh, key. And right next to that random peasant corpse. And 6 trolls. Oh no. However, will we cope with this? This might actually have been a tricky combat if it weren't for the tuning fork. Because trolls are slow and stupid, but they are strong, and if you get surrounded by them, it can end you very quickly. But I don't feel the need to dirty my blade or my staff with them. Senor, I would talk to you, but I'm not entirely comfortable with the Mordel's presence. If you could step out of the room, I will be waiting in the antechamber. This will take but a few moments. James, what do you know about the experimental projects that we have going on here at North Warden? Very little. I believe the Prince mentioned that you discovered an explosive powder similar to naphtha, but I don't know much beyond that. Our powder is similar to naphtha yet, but many times stronger. With a portion that would scarcely fill my hand, it could rain 200-pound ironballs on enemy forces. It would destroy anything it hit. Unfortunately, it takes a team of 10 men, a half an hour to reload the weapon, and yet its accuracy is not such I'd wish to count upon it in battle. In many years, it will possibly be a weapon of monstrous power, but you'll first learn how to master it. It'll be a great contribution to the kingdom's arsenal. Yes, it'll be an even greater contribution to Delicon. What I haven't told you is that 30 of North Warden's pigs have been stolen over the past 6 months. Pigs? I don't understand. What do missing pigs have to do with anything? Pig urine is a principal component in the formulation of the powder, and our swine can't survive the Northland cold. If someone in the castle has leaked that information to them, they may well be attempting to stock up for their own experiments. Enemy activity. What has the enemy activity in the region been like? Any sign of increase? We can at least substantiate Prince Rufus' fears that the Mordell plan to attack. A few of my scouts slipped into Raglan and discovered a catapult and several siege engines under construction. A number of Queegian mercenaries have already arrived in town, though none know where they are being sent. It seems the native Mordell have adapted an attitude of wait and see how the battle is going before committing to Delicon's strike force. Goraf told us as much. The run against Sephiroth apparently left a bad taste in the mouths of the Mortal clans, and Stelicon doesn't have Ramandus' silver tongue. He's had to bully several of the clans into joining him, though a few of the larger clans have sworn to withhold their support until Delicon proves himself. I am not so much concerned about Quigians in the battle as I am the possibility the Mortal may cook up something unexpected. There is talk that Delicon has a circle of advisors known as the Six. Pardon me, coughed there. Magicians of some order. I don't relish the thought of running up against some of the tricks that Ramandus pulled during the battle that destroyed our Mengar. Duke Martin has been telling me about, though I understand he was absent before the final assault began. Duke Martin is here? He arrived on a social visit shortly before your friend. I was huntmaster of Kars while he was still working for the Duke of Krydee, and recommended me to this post following Baron Rossal's death. With your friend arrived from Krondor with news of an ever possible attack, he decided to stay and help however he could here until Prince Rufa advises him further. Right now he and Senior Locklear are leading a small scouting expedition into the high hills. So what about this magic problem? You're going to hire any magicians? Long ago I saw the wisdom that Duke Boric displayed in having Cug and Polgan in his duchy. Well, actually he didn't really have Pug in his duchy for long, and Pug was hardly a practicing magician at the time, but that's neither here nor there. But yeah, Duke Boric, who was the Duke of Krydee where Pug grew up, he was very much of the opinion that magicians were an unexploited resource, and Colgan was a magician who became Pug's master, and Pug his apprentice, and he employed Colgan as a magical advisor. Anyway, it was one of the first things I did when I assumed command here. Since he felt uncomfortable here for some reason, Patras is off working a few tricks of his own to counter any more-to-hell spellcraft. So, coming up here does explain away one of the weirder plot holes if you've been playing the game and haven't been exploring too much, which is that in Chapter 5, Duke Martin, a.k.a. Martin Longbow, who is one of the major characters of the Rift War series, he shows up with no explanation as to how the Duke of the westernmost duchy of the kingdom is suddenly here on the war front, ready to lend his expertise as the greatest ranger in the land. But we can head south from here and should wind up right at... oh, what is that town name? Kentington Rush. But first, we have to deal with another Moradhell group, and it looks like these guys include magicians, so what James front and center to throw them off. And we'll go ahead and put an invincibility spell on James. Yeah, it looks like the magicians are going to try and rush him. And they have perfectly set Owen up. Well, one good one deserves another. And that should kill both of those, I think. I was not expecting it to kill that one wizard by Gorath. But yeah, nice little effect of Skin of a Dragon is it makes you immune to secondary damage. So you can have one of your fighters move into melee and then have your spellcaster do Fireball without fear of nuking him. Okay, so got some rations. And, well, not really much point in going after more than that. So yes, here we are back in Kentington Rush, and we will go ahead and go looking for a fellow who we've heard quite a bit about, and now in Chapter 3 we can finally find him. James sniffed the air. Well, for the better part of the last hour, he'd been trying to piece together the details of the murder at the Black Sheep Tavern. Something else had been nagging at him, elusive as the names of all the mockers he'd once known. It had only been after a few minutes of consideration that he'd realized what was distracting him. "Do you smell anything odd?" he asked Gorath. Struck by the oddity of smelling jasmine in the open, he could spot no natural flora that could account for the scent. But while searching, he thought he spotted something moving down the road toward them. And, yeah, I love the sound file that in the original digitized speech version of this game, which, as I noted before, the digitized speech cues whenever you meet an important character did not seem to have made into the good old games version of the game, but weirdly enough, this character, his voice apparently is meant to sound like Kermit the Frog, because you get this recording, he goes like, "What brings us visitors from Krondor?" So yes, Navon du Sandau. So, there's little enough to give event here to warrant visitors from the Bitter Sea, and if that weren't enough, it seems we have guests as well from Elvandar. Welcome to Kenting Rush. This may seem a strange question, but a moment ago I thought I smelled spice. Jasmine, to be exact. Does it grow near here? Oh, you have a keen nose. Unfortunately, it isn't local. I deal in spices as well as a number of other imported goods. I've just returned from a lengthy trip to Kesh, and I'm afraid the scent clings a bit to the clothes. But you've only just come from up the road. I've been smelling it for some while. I'm told the scent carries. There is a bit of a wind today, so as you are travelers in the area and dealing with the natives can sometimes be difficult, is there any way that I can be of assistance to you? Well, we can actually ask him about Count Corvallis, his name, and chess, so let's be social and talk about chess first. Ivan Skald and Malix Cross tells us that you are quite the chess player. High praise, he isn't too terrible at it himself. He told us you had a move called Sandau's Retreat. I'd be intrigued to learn it from you. Well, I couldn't just give away a move like that. It's kept me undefeated for several years now. I'd be willing to pay you to learn how. You're after Ivan, aren't you? He won't know what hit him until you have him. As I recall, he always bets an emerald, so I'll let you get something from the win. Say, 100 gold sovereigns. Deal? It'll be worth it just to see the look on his face. Proceed. Give me a moment to find a few appropriate stones. If you'd sketch out a board in the dirt, I will show you an architecture of a grand humiliation. James grinned. As Navon played out his moves using an odd assortment of stones, it was apparent the play would be devastating if used against an aggressive opponent. Think you can remember all that? Navon asked, brushing the dirt from his hands. Not a problem, James replied, dumping Navon's fee onto the hastily created chessboard. I think Ivan is in for quite a surprise. So, I'll ask about Count Corvallis. What reason would Count Corvallis have to dislike you, Navon? Perhaps he is no protective father, who's to say? I'm frankly surprised he hasn't hired a band of Nighthawks to have me killed. I asked too many questions for his taste. You think he has connections to the Guild of Assassins? It's a well-known fact that he's surrounded by Nighthawks. They guard his house, his lands, Caval Keep. When his daughter Egwene and I have time together, we are always followed by assassins, so they never wear their guild clothing while working for the Count. Why don't any of the local people do anything about it? Surely they object to having Nighthawks loose in the area. They look the other way. As long as none of them are being killed, it doesn't concern them. I'm sure that's true even in Krondor. And we ask him about his name. By any chance, are you any relation to the Sandau who was the workman who built Count Corvallis' wine cellar? None, but unfortunately the Count refuses to believe me. I see conspiracy in his eyes every time I meet him, but I don't know how I should put him at ease about the accident. We would both be the healthier if he didn't dwell on such an unfortunate coincidence. And ask about the accident. Do you know anything about the accident that killed Neville Corvallis? Well, it's a peculiar accident, as I understand the tavern keeper at the Duck's Head in Caval Keep. Seems the Sandau fellow was something of a drunkard who had a reputation for building inferior structures. I find it hard to believe the Count would have entrusted the construction of such a man, but surely he couldn't have meant for the wine cellar to collapse. You think the Count intended to have the wine cellar collapse? For what purpose? I've heard the Count suspected his son of something terrible, but the Count and I have enough bad blood between us. I don't wish to say anything that might jeopardize my suit with Egwene. As the things I've related to you are rumor, I would appreciate if you didn't tell the Count we've spoken on this subject. As we have appointments elsewhere, we should probably be on our way. Good traveling to you, then. If you ever have any need of anything and are in Kentington Rush, be sure to come and see me. So, yes, that is the elusive Navon du Sandau, and we've got time enough left in this video. I think we will take care of one more bit of overdue business. As you remember, the Temple of Kahuli is here just off the road, and it has a teleport pad. We'll just jump right ahead to the Chipple of Ishap in Malix Cross. And, well, I was not expecting this, but tell me something. What is it the Malix Cross has done to deserve the Abbé Ishap? Have we done some grievous deed to the king that he should ditch a wagon of disrespectful, annoying, self-centered, dung little haulers into our midst? What is it now? I take it the students from the Abbé Ishap are causing you grief? No, the neighbor's dog digging up your begonias and piddling on your front doorstep, that is grief. No, with the abbot and his blessed students of it has given me a twinging ulcer and a head full of gray hair. Looks quite dark to me. That's strange. I would think the students would be excellent customers. Oh, well, now customers. Yes, I can't stalk the ale fast enough to keep their eyeballs floating. But as someone that has to babysit their noble asses, that is another matter. I say lock the sorry prats in the basement until they're 20 or thereabouts. Are you sure you haven't been speaking to the prince? Sounds like something that he would say about his twins, Bork and Earl, maybe princes of the blood royal. But in Rufus' eyes, they're nothing but a royal pain in the behind. This is true, and the princes being annoying brats will come into play in the book Prince of the Blood, which I highly recommend, but track down the author's preferred edition. Kids are all the same whether their blood's blue or not. What can I get you today? Well, let's ask about that challenge. And we do have the emeralds. The barkeep was oblivious. While pounding James's leftward defensive positions, Ivan hadn't noticed the senior's subtle adjustments to his rightward formation of a pawn, a priest, and his queen. Ivan grimly tossed a pawn from the board. Seems I'm inside your line. Ready to surrender yet? Not exactly, James replied, sliding his hunter piece to the opposite side of the board. Have you ever heard of Aber's turn? Abruptly, the barkeep's face went pale as he studied the pieces. You couldn't. You did. For the next 3 moves, he made feeble attempts to regain the strength of his position, but at last gave up his vain hope. I surrender. And I could have sworn I visited the table here already. But yeah, we didn't actually come into the tavern last time, did we? We just did the temple, and let's see if... Yeah, if Aber has nothing to say to us. Well, we'll go ahead and exit Malik's Cross here and check our inventory. Melee has gone up, casting has gone up, scouting, stealth, and haggling are up. And voila, 100% emerald, 100% emerald. We have doubled our rather fortunate investment. Now we just need to find a place that has the money to, handle selling both of them. Well, I will take care of that off camera. And next time, we will go on to explore everything north of Romney. We'll see you then.